Hi there, I'm Shaan from The Velvet Attic. Welcome back. I'm really excited to be here today with you and to be sharing this exciting news with you. Surprisingly enough, we actually recorded this video over a month ago, but we had a lot of technical difficulties with new cameras and sound. This is why I'm doing a voice over, but it's not going to detract from my excitement. Today I want to bring something new to you. A few months ago we launched our chiffon papers and we launched 7 new designs. You would have seen the video I did with the irises on the drawers. That was our first video on the chiffon papers where I used the 60 by 90s across the drawers. Today I want to show you something different with some new designs, which is very exciting as well. Our chiffon papers have done exceptionally well, and they are just so versatile, so easy to use, high quality. There is no bubbling, tearing, creasing, just really a high quality product, which is what the Velvet Attic's all about. That's what I've strived for. That is why we import our own waterslide transfer paper. It's the best quality you can buy. It's our stockists can sell it 3-4 years, and their clients can use it. You can use it in 3-4 years. And it's absolutely perfect. And today I'm showing you our Carnival de Venice. It was our 7th design we launched. It was a monochromatic, and it's in its packet today. I'm not sure if it's on the light and the A4, but I just wanted to show you, this is basically how you receive our chiffon papers from the A5s, A4s, A3. They will come in hanging poly bags to our stockists with a Velvet Attic button. So you can always be rest assured that it's our product quality. And you'll be able to now, which is the exciting part, you will now be able to paint our chiffon. So today I'm introducing to you paintable chiffon paper. I'm going to take it out the packet here, as you can see, and when you receive our chiffon papers, the smaller sizes, the A2s and the 60 by 90 roll, it is on a white background, a basic piece of white paper. And the reason we do that is so that when it's hanging in the shop, you can, especially with colored designs, you can actually get the full effect of the brightness of the colors and what they look like. As you can see, when it's on the black tablecloth, it's not showing you the full potential. So you can imagine when there's color, it actually loses its vibrancy as the black draws the color away. So the white paper is there just to basically show you what the colors are going to look like when you apply them on your surfaces or over lighter colors. And when we work today, we'll actually work on top of the white paper in the bag. So yes, we can paint our chiffon papers, and I think what's so exciting about this is that my first one I did was this design in an A4. I painted it beforehand and then applied it to one of our wooden canvases. It was just so surprising how easy and versatile and quick it was actually to paint. So this design, you know, the Carnival de Venice was all about the mask balls, the excitement behind it. And when I painted it, I tried to bring that vibrancy in. This is the painted design. You will see that not only have I used our chalk paints, our vintage velvet attic chalk paints, I've used our metallic gold. I've used our pearlescent fil de soie, our white pearl, on this perfectly without problem. And I just fell in love with the whole idea of this. I tested it thoroughly. The paper doesn't break when you're working with it. It doesn't sort of ball up and stick together, and it's just so stunning. And the flexibility in the paper remains there. So that makes it even better from an application point of view. So showing you closely there, you know, and you can see I've done her. I used our Il Trovatore, our fawn brown on the sides. I actually base coated canvas in it, and it's underneath the design. I let it dry and then applied it using our Velvet Attic Vintage Varnish, the matte. The reason I used the matte was because I wasn't sure if I was going to add anything else to it. And afterwards I added the matte varnish again, and it was lovely to see that the metallics and the pearlescence didn't lose their metallic pearlescent effect. So it was lovely. So you can literally go from that, a monochromatic, to a painted design. I think it's so exciting because here we're creating something unique for yourself. When you paint, it's going to match your decor or go with the color theme you're doing. It's versatile. I mean, we have all the sizes available, even the new designs and that. You'll see them. I'll go through them shortly with you. And you'll see that they are just so exciting. The one I painted here she's beautiful. And the result of her so far, I mean, like I said, I made the video over a month ago, has turned out so well. So there I'm introducing you to Bella's Flowers. Bella's Flowers is our first new of the 4 designs. This is an A3. She's already out of the packet because she'll be the one I'm painting. So I've had her out and ready to paint, and I'll obviously explain what happens from there. Please bear with me with voiceovers. Never had to do them. I've always like sort of winged it on the fly on a video. But there you can see Bella in A5, A4, A3, the one I'm going to paint. This is the A2, and of course you go right up to 60 by 90. So you can imagine painting a 60 by 90 in any colors you like. If you want a blue dress, a pink dress, a yellow dress, cool tones, warm tones, it's endless. You can create your own special design that you apply to your furniture, door, cupboard, you name it, jewelry box, tray, and it's got your special touch to it. And it really isn't rocket science painting. This is actually such an easy way of painting. So I'm very excited to show you. The next design here is our Gypsy Summer. Love it. Love the design, the carriage and the horse. Love the concept of the Gypsy Summer and all those scrolls. You can do so much with that. So very pretty. Also available in all the sizes. We've had our stock actually for a month, but didn't want to obviously do anything yet, so we were sorted. Maison Bavière, our milliner advert, French advert. And I think that era with its hats and feathers and dresses and everything was so formal, and you could really play on color with this design. It's absolutely stunning. I just love the way she's standing there and all the hats are on the frame, and I can just imagine all those ostrich feather colors. And so yeah, that was our next one after the Gypsy Summer. And then obviously close to my heart, because being a painter, I stem from the painting side. Here's a lovely still life of various florals in a vase with word romances, because florals are romantic, and also available in all the sizes. And like I say, we have the stock. There is no pre-ordering necessary here. This is just everything available to go at once. So let's start with old Bella's Flowers here. So basically what you do is you remove your chiffon paper out of the bag, leave the white piece of paper inside the bag, and you're going to paint her while she's on the bag. The reason you do this is because the moisture and the water will go through paper, and it will actually sort of stick and suction to the bag, the plastic, so you can then, you're not going to get her moving around and having other colors coming through from the back end, which is not, you don't want that. So it's almost going to create a sticking effect, and you can remove it afterwards. And when you've got the bigger ones, you can cut the bag down one side, fold it over for an A2, get bigger pieces of white carding or unprinted newsprint papers, and you can then work with that. So with Bella's Flowers, I'm going to be bringing in some metallics again, and the pearlescent, our pearlescent sealed sky blue. Basically because I wanted that sort of shimmer satin effect on Bella's dress. And I just thought, I'm going to go with the blues, because I'm actually going to play a lot with cool and warm tones when I painted it. And when I did this design, you know, the whole effect was this masked ball, hence why we have the mask, chandeliers, the beautiful woman with her mask, the jester in the court. That's an Italian opera in the script. It was all put together when I designed it to fit in with the masked balls in Venice. And I was very excited and very proud of that design. And that was released earlier this year. So with Bella's Flowers, we're also going to work. And, you know, when we paint, I think everybody always thinks, oh, we got to run out and buy new acrylics and new this and new that. No, you don't. Use the chalk paints you have. Here are the brushes I used. They're synthetic nylon brushes. I used a number 8 and a number 3 round, and then I used a Filbert brush for bigger areas in the background. And the Filbert brush is a number 12, if I'm correct. Yes. So, the Filbert, you always try and use the largest brush you can in the area where you can to create the softest effect. So try not to use the tiniest brush in the biggest area when you can actually use the bigger one. I work with a paper palette. Love paper palettes. You really should get one. They're awesome. We do sell them, and they just, you can wipe off your paint when you're done, or you can actually just tear the piece off and move on to the next page. I obviously have paper towel available. I use that. Brush basin I use as well. We usually stock the square ones, but there's no stock at the moment, obviously. With lockdown, trying to get stock is a bit of a nightmare. But you don't have to have a brush basin. You can use a bucket, a yogurt thing, whatever. That little bottle there was a spritzer bottle. I use it when I paint. I have distilled water in it. It's a cheapie from a plastic shop. You don't have to spend hundreds of rands on a spritzer. And I use distilled water in mine, but quite frankly, tap water will work fine for this as well. So you don't need to run off and buy distilled water. So there you can see the paper is still in the packet, and that is our chiffon paper on top of the packet. So you're going to place her onto the bag, and then we're going to start painting from there. So like I said, the absolute beauty about this is that you don't have to run out and spend money on high pigment paint. You really can just use what you have at home. If you've got acrylics at home, that's fine. If you have your chalk paints, that's fine. Or vintage chalk paints. So as I said before, you can use what you have at home. The last thing we want anybody to do is run out and have to spend lots of money. We're in this lockdown. We're experiencing very strange things in this world at the moment. So, you know what? This is so therapeutic. It's almost like an advanced version of adult coloring. But we're going to paint. And here I've basically taken out some of my chalk paint, our vintage chalk paint. I've taken out the color Fleur, which is our peach, and Chantilly lace, our white, and then Le Chocolat, which is our chocolate brown, which is like a raw sienna. It's a nice toning color as well. And I'm going to just lift, and you can see there, I just scooped out the bottle. Our chalk paint is very much a creamy viscosity, and the Le Chocolat is really like your traditional raw siennas. It's a beautiful toning color. So when we mix the flesh tone, we aren't going to, you know, if I don't want a very pinky skin and I want to tone it down a bit, well, I add more of my Le Chocolat. And you're always going to add your dark color to your light. So you're going to add some Fleur to your white, and then obviously carry on mixing from there. If you do it the other way, you could end up with liters of paint. So always try and remember, you know, mix your dark into your light when you are, you know, mixing colors that you need. So I wanted to go with a bit of a flesh tone here, but obviously not too pink. So I pulled out a bit of the white. I have dampened my brush first. Grabbed some of the Fleur, mixed it in. You could do this with a palette knife if you really want to as well. I just brush mix as I go. So you can see I've got a sort of medium value each color there now. I'm going to add a bit more white because I actually don't want that dark. And then I am going to take a little bit of our chocolate and add that in, and that is basically going to tone my pink down. So where we had this vibrant peach tint, we've now got a tone that isn't as vibrant, and that's sort of what I'm going for as far as the skin tone was good. And so pre-mix a bit, and you can also brush mix as you go. You'll see it's actually so forgiving when you do this kind of painting. It's not like I said, rocket science. Nothing's wrong with it as you paint it. I would say the only thing you need to be concerned about, or maybe consider testing first, would be any of the paints out there that may have a sealant mixed in with it already. That could affect the application process later to lose flexibility in it. So I'm adding water to this puddle of paint. The reason being is that we are going to work rather wet on this paper, and that's where I can proudly say we have a really good quality product, because as long as you keep it wet, you keep painting it and it just doesn't break down, and it's really, really forgiving, easy, and you can paint, confidently knowing that you're not going to tear and break the paper. So we want to start with the flesh tone, and you'll see that I'll keep adding more water, basically because the tint is a little bit more opaque. In other words, it covers, therefore I want to thin it down a little bit more. You can always add, and I've always said this in all the years I've taught painting, was rather have less and add to it than put too much and you can't remove it. So here again, put it down. If you need to add as you go. Turn your piece as you need to. Be comfortable. Make sure you're comfortable with it. And then you'll start your painting. Now, the more wet your paper gets, the more it will bleed the color. But it's not a train smash, because by the time you do the background and you start blending colors and that, it's very forgiving. Okay. And I'm basically showing you here that if it moves, you could pick up the other colors from beneath. So you don't want it to move. So once it's down there, keep it there until it dries. And I think I'm going to load more water. I would think. Remember, bear with me. I'm doing a voiceover here. And so what I did with the Venice is I painted all the elements first and the background last, and I paint the piece before we apply it. That's actually the trick behind it, and that's the easiest way. So in this instance, for example, I'm going to start with the skin, and then I'm going to carry on with elements in the design, and I will move on to the background later on. So we've got color in our brush. Okay. I'm going to start on her hand there, and I was getting very fancy with my new camera because I'm going to zoom in for you, which is awesome, and I'm very happy about that. We just got to sort out the other glitches with sound. So I'm starting to paint in. Now I'm just painting straight onto the dry paper, and it's going to absorb through, and that's obviously what's going to hold it to the plastic. And I'll keep picking up water, and I'll keep, painting the color on, as you can see. You just keep going with it. And I'm using the number 8 round here. But you can use whichever one works for you. There we go. I'm zooming in. I've got very clever now. And you can see better there what's happening. So I'm going to carry on painting that part of her hand, the wrist and the forearm. I'm obviously reloading at these. So here I take the spritzer bottle and I spray the paper because I quite like to wet the surface first, and if it's too wet you can always blot it with paper towel and remove some of but it actually helps you paint through quicker. So you just spritz a bit of water on and then you can take it and carry on from there. Now for me, just painting it in my mixed tone color, I'm not going to just leave it one color. When I look at the design, I will say, well, you know, this is a shadowed area or recessed area that we maybe need to enhance or darken a bit. You can see I've just basically like color painted there on her arm is basically where I want to shadow. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of the Le Chocolat with some water, and I'm going to paint in down the side with that brown or sienna brown, and I'm just going to blend it into the wet paint that's there. That's the trick, is that you're working wet on wet the whole time. A little bit like watercolor, we're following that idea. I'm zooming in while I'm lifting and showing you the shadow there on the arm, so you can actually strengthen. You can keep coming back and touching up and adding more shadow as you go along. No hard and fast rules here, just, you know, create, add where you maybe think there should be a shadow. This is your piece, remember, you're doing. I'm going to add a little bit more of the chocolate into or onto her hand. Bring a bit of shading in. I don't want to leave it in one tone color, so I will add some interest. And if you put too much on, you just literally take like your number 3 there and just put in water, and you can wipe off the excess that you've done or blot it with paper towel. So you can't really make a mess, is what I'm trying to say. There's always a way to fix and make it look good. There I'm adding some more again. See? So you can see how from just plain sort of light color, we've now created a little bit of interest. And I'm obviously going to now carry on with the rest of the skin, and I'm going to be speeding up this process for you. Okay, so I carried on with her hair. So I was working with the same colouring. Obviously, I just carried on more with the Le Chocolat, the rose colour. And I'll lift it up and close to what I've been doing. So you don't really want to paint it in solid and just have one tone. See, by washing it in like that, you get multiple tones happening, and obviously we'll do more as we go along. So what I want to do here now is actually add a little bit of color to her cheeks here, and I'm going to be using one of our very popular colors in our velvet, and that's our Dupas Fond, our dark pink. It's really is a beautiful color. And just always remember to shake your paints well, and before you use it, shake them really well. I always recommend you shake paints well. If you're not painting for a long time, store them on their head. So I'm going to put a bit of the Dupas Fond out on my palette, and obviously thin it down with water. Now remember, the colouring on her face and her skin and that is still wet. It stays wet for a long time, and obviously we're currently in winter. Even then, when I painted it, we're in winter, so it stays wet for a long time, and you can always just spritz it over a bit if you need to wet it again. So we're adding the water into the Dupas Fond there on the palette. See what I'm doing? Okay, and I added quite a lot. It actually, the paint does what I call beading, where it pulls apart on the palette. That's how much I diluted the color down with the water, and that's because it's quite a strong thing, and I just didn't want it to be too intense. But if I had put it on stronger, I could always add a little bit of water and smooth it out or blot it. So we just wanted a little bit of pink on her cheeks, sort of rosy cheeks, but not crazy overdone. And I just worked in a circle very softly with the brush, very gently, with very little paint. You can actually see the color of the hair through the paint. So it's not even coated in paint really, that's how, you know, diluted the paint. And just worked a bit of pink and color onto her face there, which just, I think, added a bit. But you know, as you paint as well, you'll notice sometimes things change as you go along, and you might prefer a darker tone there or under her hairline that maybe you want to add. I put a little bit of on her lips there. I actually added a little bit onto her fingernails as well. You'll see down here on her left hand, I actually, sorry, I do turn it around a lot, so you need to move your surface as well when you're painting so you're comfortable. And I just added it in on her fingernails, which already had the fleur on, right? So a little bit extra to make something natural but pretty. Okay, and you can see how lovely that's so far. So we zoom out, we can see the whole effect so far of what we've painted, and obviously we're going to work more on it. Just rinsing my brush there. So what's going to happen now is I'm actually going to start on her dress. And I was a bit indecisive on the color in the beginning because I actually wanted to create the effect of her wearing a satin. And I thought, you know, maybe the best thing to do here would be one of our very pretty pearlescent blues called Seal, which is a sky blue. You can see it there. And I thought, wow, that works so nice with the warm tones I want to do, because she is an art Nouveau design. And just thought with the warm tones and the cool tones, the blue being a cool tone and the warm tones on her skin and what we're going to bring in, this would just work so nicely, and of course would draw the eye in, because she's our focal point really on the design. And this is what you'll see. Absolutely stunning. So when you use the pearlescence or the metallics, you can follow the same principle of wetting the surface first. You don't necessarily dilute the metallic or pearlescent as much as you would say the vintage paint. So you can almost use it neat. But what I did do is, when I did the word Venice on the other canvas, I did multiple coats of gold to create the effect in the shape. So I'm going to take some of the seal out, there you can see, and I'm going to start working on the satin dress. Well, obviously we're going to add some water. I'm going to spritz the paper. I basically needed to get this done quite quickly. So, you know, if you don't want to and you're worried about the bleeding out of the colors, then don't spritz. Just paint straight with your done color. You'll have more control that way. If you don't and you need to get on with it, then spray it. I basically do that. And I'm going to start on that side there. I was just positioning. I was getting used to also the camera. I can feel that it's wet and more there. And like I said, put too much on, just take a paper towel or a cloth. It'll absorb some of the moisture out. So here I didn't dilute like I did the blue as much for the seal. I worked with it quite neat. It is color, and I used the bigger brush here, the Filbert, because the dress is a bigger area. Otherwise, it would take much longer. Or you could use a bigger round. The Filbert will work. You can also use flat shaders as well. I'm basically just painting in the blue. See, it's a very pretty blue. The first coat doesn't shimmer as much as the second, adding on the third, as you need. Because I'd like to jump back and forth, so I touch up in a plane of color. You'll see as I paint. So like I said, there's no hard and fast. This is like advanced adult coloring, but it really isn't difficult painting. You're just sort of blocking in and putting a little bit of. So even if you go over the black lines here, that's fine. And I've just pointed there about the velvetatic, the design there. I'll trim that off before I put it on the canvas. You can do the same with yours. Okay, so let's zoom out here so we can get the full picture of where we are. I sped the video up for you. Obviously it'll take too long. I'll zoom in a bit and lift here. You can see how pretty that blue really is. And you'll see a little bit of blue gone onto the skin. Don't stress too much about it. A little bit of water to move it off, or as I like when I paint florals, a lot of times your rose colors reflect in your leaves and vice versa. So you can just work that out, work a bit of pink or flesh tone back in there. That's why it's you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be accurate, and you can just paint. And it's really, really good for your soul. It's very therapeutic, and I think we all need that right now. So rinsing my brush there. I do love how the blue, the cool tone of form. That's our luster de all metallic, our gold luster. What I'm doing now is I'm moving away from her dress now to give it a little bit of time to set, and I'm going to work on that beautiful canvas scroll on her top right there. And I use the gold on the Venice that it's luster d'or is basically our yellow gold. It's named after the lusters on the ceramic fire, those beautiful gold ones and that. So it's a very bright, vibrant yellow gold. Not an old gold, it's a definite yellow sort of Venetian gold. And I'm going to use that on the scrolls while I let the dress sit a bit. And as I did with the Venice picture, I will use, you can use it obviously wet as well there, but you do multiple coats of the metallic to get the shimmer. So I turn it around here. Sure, I will zoom in as well. There we go, didn't hang a bit. I go back before I go forward. Okay, so zooming in here, you can see the scroll, and I'm just going to position it there. And then this I will use the number 3 or the number 8 actually. You can use the tip of the brush, you don't all the way down. So a lot of times I'll stick to one side. Just going to spritz it and wet it. To spread the wet and the moisture. And you can feel that it's all wet. And I just wanted the gold sort of to enhance a bit next to her. It will stand out once the background's done, and obviously this is a very warm tone of gold, so it will complement the colors I used. So we're just going to go and start painting in the scrolls now. Once again, you don't have to be perfect. You can put a black bit fine. So there you can see, I just sped it up again, welcome back. You can see the scrolls being painted in the gold. And you don't have to, as you watch, be 100% perfect about fitting black part and white. I'm going to lift it up there, you can actually see closer to the detail. And I'll obviously enhance a little bit more later on with gold too. Just to get that extra bit of metallic. Okay, turn her around. That's where we are. I'm loving how the gold looks next to her there. She really does have a very, very beautiful face. So, and I just love her stance and the florals and flowers. So we zoom out, you can see the full picture here where we're at. You can also see the palette we've been using, colors. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start with the foliage, the leaves and the stems, and I'm going to be using quite a bright color of ours called Emerald. It's our emerald green in our range. Very, very beautiful color. Now that will be used for the stems and the leaves and the calyx. I basically went bright because I felt if I used a darker green, I would dull down the blue as well, considering the color and the dark green. So I'm taking a little bit of the emerald out on the palette there, and obviously I'm going to add a bit of water to the paint, and I'll use our number 3 round here. I'm going to start with those stems I'm pointing at there, and then obviously work back up into the bouquet. We'll zoom in here and then I'm going to start painting stems and the leaves, which I'll also speed up to save time. I know my videos are long, I want to share today, and I have to pull myself back a bit. So make sure you turn your piece comfortable. You can paint in with the brush. Okay, so welcome back. Now looking at the flowers, we already have our Duperform out, and I'd like to also add into the equation the Baroque urban color. I think that will just also complement. And of course, we've got a beautiful center there. We need to use one of our yellows. We've got a vast range of yellows in our range, and from really, really bright, bright yellow. There's our Mon Ami. But on this one, I'm going to actually use our traditional ochre color, which is called Ochre. And I'm going to be using that. Ochre. It's like true ochre. And I'll take a little bit out, and I'm going to use that in the center of that flower. I won't dilute it too much because I want the yellow to pop quite a bit intensely. Just gonna dab it a little there. You can see it's still a stunning color, the lock. And then I'm just gonna put a touch of the Le Chocolat on my brush, and along the bottom section of the center, I'm gonna add some yellow. And then a touch of white just for the top section of the thing. I just don't want it plain yellow. I want it a little bit more interesting. So there's a little bit of highlighting on it. It creates that brownness effect. And then I'm going to rinse my brush and have a look at using our Baroque now, our burgundy, which I would like to use on that flower and there. So I will be diluting this color down as well with the water quite a lot and painting it in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in some of our J'adore, which is our burgundy pink, to start on the other flowers. You can see the Baroque on the left and our J'adore on the right. The Baroque on the light. But J'adore, you can see, is a little bit more of a purpley burgundy pink. So I'm going to be using that, thinning it down for majority of the flowers on the right side, and I'll be painting those, also diluting the paint. We're going to start over here. So I'm going to take a color called Pavlova. It's our pale heather color, which I'm going to use for the color flowers on the left hand side, to create some variation. And I will also, that's our Pavlova. I'll also be picking it up with my brush, add some interest onto these shore flowers. I'll use it as highlighting and painting. A little bit of water, bleed out. So I'm now going to bring in a warm tone color called Art Nouveau, which is actually the style of this fella. It's basically our dark orange, most burnt orange, a very warm tone, beautiful color, very popular. And I'm going to bring in the warm tones to complement the cool tones I've been using of the blues and the mauves and purples and green. And obviously it will just help. I love paint. And it'll obviously complement your skin tone and the gold on the scroll as well, being warm tone color. And I'm going to dilute it quite a bit. It's a bit of a strong color, so I'll add a lot of water to that. And I want to start basically on the left side flowers, and bring the warm tone in there. And I actually will probably, and I do actually use this later in the background as well. It just seems to work pretty beautiful. So there you can see I've loaded my brush, those flowers I'm starting with, and working downwards. And line it up with the camera. I do love the zooming. Just got to get all the settings right. So I'm going to basically paint that in, and you know what, you don't have to be very specific because it's so forgiving. You just paint in everywhere, tap it around, and work the color. See how that is. Okay, so there, I've zoomed out. You can see the picture. I'm going to focus on her hair now. I've decided there that I would like to bring that Art Nouveau color into her hair and work on this back section here. A little bit of the Baroque is bled through, but it's not the end of the world. You'll see as I work that you can blot. If you blot it like that, it's a perfect example. Here, and it's white there again. So there's so much you can do. I'll just touch up a bit on the skin as well. That's the end of the world. And I'll work her hair now as we go forward. Same thing. I'm not going to try and paint all her hair in the Art Nouveau. I want to do it in little sections, almost as different tones within her hair coloring. And that's where I'm going to now bring in this Art Nouveau burnt orange color. Also a lovely warm tone. It'll just complement her skin and work. Okay, so I've also just touched up with a little bit of the raw sienna first, just to bring it in again. But obviously now we want to bring this, the Art Nouveau color into her hair in tones and little areas, controlling it. You can see there. So I'm just placing it around spaciously, not colouring enough section. And yes, again at this point everything is still some up there. You know, the hair basically frames the face. Pull it around. To just create an interest. Of course, I can always bring more of the Le Chocolat underneath the hair on the forehead, if I need to create more shadowing there. Working light. If you want dark tones, then you could also use our Art Deco, like dark for in between. Right, so what I need to do now is bring some color into her eyes, and I opted to use a color in our range called Lumiere, the beautiful light blue turquoise. I just think it would pop and make her eyes stand out quite pronounced in her face, and her being the focal point. I think that here's our Lumiere, absolutely. I love colors, so I'm always going to say that. I'm just using it as it is. I didn't thin it down. I just took up my brush, used a little bit out of the lid, and dabbed it into the color area of the eye, or her eye. See that it's coated, not very thin. Dab it in there. You can already see how that pops. And then I'll lift it up. You can just see a bit closer. I've put a little bit of the Baroque on her lips too, but I'll there's a little bit. Nothing is ever wrong. So anything with the bleeding, don't stress. I'm working with it very wet. You don't have to. There, I'm just touching it around the mouth a bit, which picks up a bit later. So yeah, a little bit of gold on her clips in her head, but I changed my mind later with that. I'm zooming out, you can see the book for a moment. So like I said, you paint all these elements in, that's the first. The scrolls through the flowers, that kind of thing. That little bit of bleeding out is really not an issue, don't panic about it. So I've allowed it to dry and come back with it, and I'm going to start in the background now. I want to start working the colors in. Mine wasn't completely dry at the time because I was limited on time when to do this. But you could leave it and use a hairdryer if you need to from a distance to dry it out, or put it in the sun for a few minutes and that's dried out. And obviously if it feels very cold, even if it's dry to the touch, you know it's still wet. So I decided here that I actually wanted to bring the Art Nouveau into the background. My first thought was a multicolored background, and then as she developed the colors, I thought, no, we really need that blue pearlescent in her dress to pop off at us. So I was going to use the Art Nouveau around her and start building in my background. And of course, I'm just turning my paper palette around here, and I'm going to be working with the burnt orange or dark orange Art Nouveau. And you can basically, I'm going to spritz and work with it wet still. Like I said to you before, you want more control, don't spritz, just paint and thin your paint down. You'll have more control to it. But like this, it's still fine as long as your paper is wet. Fine, you can come back and re-wet. I'm actually going to do it. Remember, I was waiting for the time. So I'm going to re-wet and then start working on this background around her, almost a framing effect actually. Maybe making it a bit stronger, closer to her body and that, and bringing it out. So I've spritzed the water onto the paper. It is quite wet, you can see it on the plastic there. I didn't remove it from the plastic yet, it's still on there, so it's holding because it's paint before. So don't worry, carry on like that. So I'm going to use our Filbert here for the background, for the big area, and also for the softness. And I am going to still thin my Art Nouveau with water. And the Filbert is basically a flat shade of dome top, as I was showing. Okay, so we're going to start on one section on the left hand side where the Art Nouveau dark orange flowers, and we'll work our way around. Just zoom in. Okay. From there you can see what I'm doing. Just adding some water here, just to soften paper where it's drying. I'm just adding more water there and working excuse me, over the paint a bit. But the orange I'm going to be using quite strongly here, so that little borderline anyway will be good. Get Art Nouveau on the brush. It's quite a strong foundation. And then I'm going to walk it along, a little bit of water on my brush. In, I don't want a solid pack. I want to strengthen in a light color and working light feel. So we want to, work it in. Okay, so I have got our Ruby Rouge metallic paint here. It's a beautiful darker red ruby color metallic. I was finding that the clips or berry clips in her hair were a bit lost at the gold, and I actually was going to put a bit of the Ruby Rouge on there and have the metallic effect, which I'm going to do now. And just remember, you would have seen I've gone around twice with the background just to enhance here and there, smoothed out a bit with the Filbert brush on some of the skin areas. Look at that color. That's beautiful, beautiful red. So I'm pretty much using it straight from the lid. I didn't dilute it because I was going to dab onto those little berry goodies. See me loading from the lid there, and I'm going to dab it on there. So I wanted the color quite strong, and it's fine over the gold. There's no issue there. So just dab it over. But remember, you've got leniency if you want to do berries in her hair or any other color or dress. This is where the painting is so stunning, because that is now putting your personal touch onto your piece. Yes, the full pictures are stunning, but then that's all you have is the full picture, whereas these paintable ones you really can get creative on. And I think if you can base a piece of furniture, you can definitely paint this. So it looks a little bit pinky, but it really is a darker red color. I think it's just the lighting. There's a lot of lighting in my studio. And then I still thought, I'd bring some of that metallic Ruby Rouge into some of the flowers, just to give them a little bit of a shimmer and create some more interest. When I was painting the Baroque, I was some white to create interest. But I want to now, get that flower. It's quite a main flower, just to pop off a bit of shimmer and it'll catch the light. You can see that's lovely, and of course I think that Ruby Rouge with her eyes in the air just pops off from those green tones. So very nice. A little bit on those buds that are opening. Yeah. You can see how lovely that is. And I even thought, we could, there you can see the gold metallic on the banners. So I will do another extra gold on the scrolls to help that gold get more pop out of it. Pop, in other words, brightness, metallic effect. And I will put a little bit of the Ruby Rouge on her lips as an afterthought there. You'll see I'll start painting that on. And that did make quite a difference. It really did pronounce. But I didn't dilute it here. Remember, I'm using it neat from the lid. That's lovely. I really enjoyed painting. I think it's just wonderful that we can be so creative now. So turning her around, I'm zoomed in. I want to just enhance the gold now, but not the whole piece, just really the top parts of the scroll. I'm going to add some gold there, a little bit neater, not so diluted. Working from the lid again, and I'll be enhancing this. Okay, so let's zoom out and have a look at the whole picture here now after we've enhanced some of the metallic. Gorgeous. You can see the full effect there now. So basically what needs to happen now is it's very wet, the paper, so we need to allow it to dry. You don't have to take paper at this point or plastic at this point. I however do, because I'm going to put it on the post that dries. But you basically need to let the paper dry now before you can apply it to your canvas. I know I do the wooden canvas all the time, but I basically, reason being, you can see the paint behind the paper there. The reason I do that is that it's just easier from a forming point of view. So there I've removed her. I've just put her on the black tablecloth. She's going to dry there. And once she's dry, I can come back, get the canvas ready and apply her to it. So welcome back. Here I have my picture dry and A3 size wooden canvas. We sell multiple sizes of and sell a lot of. So we have those as well. So usually you paint your color you need behind the picture, white or a cream or a beige. That's not going to distract. You can see the paper is still very and when I was looking at this, I thought, you know what, the beige color, you can see when you put it over the dark, use it, but the beige color of the canvas of the MDF wood, the yellow MDF, perfect. The only thing we need to take into consideration is that we're working basically on a raw wood, which has more absorption. We need to make sure it's dust free, and obviously when we apply the varnish to adhere it, I adhered it with our matte varnish. You just got to make sure that you put enough on that whatever the wood absorbs, there is enough to adhere that to. So just make sure there's no dust. That's basically what I'm doing here, is feeling that there's no dust on the. If there's, just wipe it to the side and that should be fine. Okay, and I'm not going to paint the varnish onto the canvas. I'm just going to place her on top. At this point I was trying to figure out if I wanted to raise it up and just stand on the bottom or what I was going to do. So I decided to centralize it would work better, because I'm going to be bringing the Art Nouveau colors on the sides of the canvas up over the print and the painted bit. So if I raise her there, obviously she's cut off the dress. So I'm just going to center it there. And I can see from the wood color what colors it's actually going to look like. So I'm taking my Velvetatic Vintage Varnish, the matte, a water-based polyurethane non-yellowing varnish used for 20 years. Fantastic. It's available in satin and gloss as well. So put it down with the matte varnish, because if you still want stenciling or anything on top, it'll have that tooth that you can actually, or grip that you can actually do other techniques, and then you can still paint a satin or gloss on top of that if you want that finish. I'm also going to be using a flat synthetic nylon soft brush for putting varnish down. A lot of people complain of streaking with varnishes. The reason being, you need to use a soft brush. Hardware brushes and bristle brushes and hogstairs don't. So it's a damp. I've dampened it, I've blotted it, it's not dripping wet. I'm going to take some of the varnish onto my brush, starting in the center of the picture. Sorry, I had some on camera. I'm going to start in the center and just work it through, and it's going to start adhering to the board. You'll notice there's not going to be any creasing or bubble. So once you've gone around, you'll see that's a bit milky. It will dry clear though, completely. Now you just go around and you make sure all your edges are done, and that's important to do because of the absorption from the wood. So make sure you just go around. Don't necessarily have to do the whole piece. Just get all your edges down. So welcome back. I have basically allowed her to dry now. She's not completely dry, but I can work with the canvas. And I now want to put the edges. You on the other hand can wait for it to dry properly. I want to start on the edges. And I'm going to be using our Art Nouveau again. I thought, let me bring it up straight as the color up over the edge and blend in. So it's all done in one go. So there's no actual framing. Once again, you can see it's a beautiful dark orange. A very, very warm color. I'll put some out on my palette here. Now you can use a brush to paint the sides, but I decided I would like to use some of our sponge daubers. You could use a normal solid sponge to do this process. Alternatively, you can use sponge daubers. Okay, rinse the brush. I'll clean everything with the brush cleaner. So the daubers are amazing. They're basically solid sponging that's being put onto a dowel so that you can do a pouncing stippling action and sponge and blend colors for backgrounds and blendings. So they are great fun, multiple sizes. Some of the packages will have 5 different sizes in them, very affordable too. And you can reuse them. The thing is to always, I'm just lifting it so you can see there better. The most important thing is that you always dampen your sponge first. You wet it, you squeeze it out, and you make sure it's not dripping in water, but it is damp. And that'll prevent a quick buildup of dry paint and skins on the sponge. And it prolongs the life of your sponge. So just make sure you get all that excess water off. I'm taking a paper towel here just to squeeze the sponge in so all that excess is out. Okay, and I'm going to work straight with the paint. I'm not actually going to be diluting the paint. I'll work with it as it is from the bottle on the palette, and moving things up a bit. Got it always sorted out. I dab into the paint, and you'll see that I've got a blob on the end of it. Now you don't want to work with that, so now you're basically going to pounce it on the side away from the puddle so that you get a nice even blend of paint on your sponge surface. There you can see it beautifully. And you're going to start on the side of your canvas. So I'll show you two techniques. One is this: you can come along and stipple or pounce the sponge across the edge. You usually get a better coverage as well than a paintbrush when you do this process. So 2 coats and you should be done anyway when you come around again. So I'm just going to obviously I will speed up the process, but I'll also show you the other. And if you need more, just take more puddle, work it into the sponge, and then continue. Makes a bit of an eggshell finish, which I like, but it's good. You can go over them lightly and pop some of those. Okay, now alternatively you can streak it across like there, and then do a little bit of bounce to get the texture back. That's actually a little bit of a faster way of doing it. Along the edge and then just bounce back. Okay, so now I'm going to be using a smaller sponge dauber to bring the blending up over the sides over onto the picture, so that we sort of get a blend right through in a framing. So I'm using a smaller size here. You can still use a bigger size if you're comfortable. Get the wood color on. There we go. The difference. I'm actually using a smaller size. It's just a little bit more controllable around flowers, and I'm just going to work. Okay, so welcome back. I finished sponging around with my daubers and blending that Art Nouveau over the canvas, the design from the sides, and obviously I'll have to let this dry, and then I will apply a couple coats of my matte varnish as I want a matte finish. I'll be, if you would like to then have the satin or gloss finish, this is the stage where you would paint those varnish, either satin or gloss to get the finish you'd like. So it's wonderful actually to be able to create something like this from nothing, basically blank canvas, a bit of a line drawing to follow. And I'd like to thank you very much everybody that knew about the video, that was a presentation to me with qualities. But finally it is here to show, and our stock is available, as I said last month. And you know, I'm sure it will be out there very soon. Others will be painting, but you saw it here first, Filbert. The concept I've been working on for a number of months, testing and everything before we even launched it, just to make sure that, you know, it's not just about putting pictures down, that we can create more ideas and be more creative with the chiffon paper. So yes, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. If you'd like to see other designs painted, give me a shout. If you'd like to see a live video, let me know. As you can see, there's our Carnival de Venus again. That was painted the same process. And our Bella's flowers here. And I'm very chuffed with her. I think she's come out too beautifully in the Art Nouveau style. I will be attaching a picture of a gorgeous stencil we've had designed by our very clever stencil cutters. And it's top quality, beautiful. We'll be cleaning the brush with this, our VelveTatic brush cleaner. It's exceptional. Couple of drops, cleans, oils, acrylics, the whole bang shoot, chalk paint, and goes a very long way. And yes, the stencil you'll see is complimentary one. It starts from a 60 by 60 centimeters, so it's quite big, more for the bigger designs, although sections of it can be taken and used for the smaller. But I was very excited to share that with you in this video, so I'll be putting pictures of that up to the befores, the afters, as well as the other design. Thank you so much again for your support and for watching my video. I hope you have many hours of happy painting. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, stay warm, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.